that still smells like last week's soup. A belt, a coarsely woven cloak, and hose that itch like regret. No elastic here, just laces, hope, and constant adjusting. And underneath all that, well, probably nothing. Underwear is hotly debated among historians. Some say it existed in primitive form, others claim it. Hey guys, tonight we're going to take a stroll through a time period that's been seriously romanticized, until you actually have to live in it. Imagine waking up not in a cozy bed, but in a straw-stuffed sack that's suspiciously damp, itchy, and somehow both lumpy and flat. This is your first day in medieval times, and spoiler alert, you probably won't survive it. Between the bugs, the smell, and the overall vibe of please don't let me catch the plague before noon, you're already off to a rocky start. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do. Also, let me know in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is. I love seeing how far this sleepy little time machine travels. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You open your eyes to near total darkness. The only light leaks in through gaps in the wooden shutters, if your hut even has those. The smell hits first, musty straw, old sweat, and a faint hint of wet animal fur. You're not alone in the room. Someone's snoring. Someone else is mumbling, in their sleep. And under your straw mattress, something squeaks. Probably a rat. Could be worse. It could be a neighbor. You try to sit up and instantly regret it. The straw pokes through the thin linen shift you slept in, scraping your back like nature's bed of nails. No memory foam here, just memory fleas. And yes, fleas are everywhere. People didn't just sleep with them. They often believed these insects were part of the natural order. One fringe theory from the era even claimed fleas were God's little reminders to stay humble, or scratchy. There's no pillow, of course, just a folded sack or a log, if you're lucky. If you're unlucky, it's someone else's arm and they're drooling on you. You grope around for your boots, except they're not boots. They're leather wrappings or wooden clogs if you've moved up in the world. You pull them on and feel the dried mud crack around your toes. There's no glass window, no curtain to pull. Just the morning sounds drifting in from the village. A rooster that clearly thinks dawn starts at 3:45 a.m., a cow protesting milking time, and someone yelling about a missing chicken. You rub your eyes and wonder if you can get coffee. You cannot. Coffee hasn't arrived in your corner of Europe yet. Instead, there's a strong possibility someone will hand you a cup of warm beer, or worse, small ale, a low alcohol, barley drink that tastes like regret. Your stomach grumbles. But before breakfast, hygiene. Or the medieval idea of hygiene, which mostly involved splashing cold water on your face and hoping for the best. If your family's lucky enough to own a basin, you'll all share it. Yes, the same water, no matter how many faces go in. And if you're wondering whether medieval people brushed their teeth, well, sometimes they chewed mint or used cloth and salt. Sometimes they just didn't. Historians still argue whether dental hygiene was a genuine priority or just an accidental side effect of eating tough bread. Now, let's talk about that tough bread. Breakfast isn't breakfast as you know it. It's more like edible survival, a thin, tasteless porridge made from grains you can't pronounce, and water you probably shouldn't drink. You get a chunk of bread so dense it could double as a building material. Butter, that's a luxury. Honey? Only if you've got bees and no fear of stings. You chew slowly, trying not to crack a tooth. You notice something crawling on your sleeve. A louse. Common, unwelcome, and nearly impossible to fully get rid of. Personal hygiene is rough. Bathing once a week is generous. Bathing twice a month? Nobel-worthy. And don't get excited about soap. Most people used a lye-based mixture that burned your skin more than it cleaned it. Outside, someone's shouting again. There's no alarm clock, but the village crier is doing his thing. You hear news, weather, gossip, and ominous warnings all rolled into one raspy voice. Someone's goat got into someone else's garden again. And there's a rumor going around that a woman 3 villages over cured a headache by staring at the moon too long. Witchcraft. Possibly. As you gather your things for the day, which includes a stick, a belt pouch, and not much else, you realize something important. You're tired, still tired, because nobody really gets good sleep in the Middle Ages. Between the snoring, the bed bugs, the animal noises, and the total lack of temperature control, it's a miracle anyone wakes up functional. You certainly don't feel functional. And yet, you shuffle outside. The air smells like smoke and soil and something vaguely fermented. A neighbor greets you with a grunt. You grunt back. Welcome to medieval mornings, where the day hasn't truly begun until you've stepped in something questionable. And let's not forget the cosmic joke. Sunrise is the only beautiful thing you'll experience today. The rest? It's all very downhill. You shuffle across the uneven dirt floor, ducking under the low lintel of your cottage as you step into the grey morning. The chill bites instantly. Your breath fogs in the air, mixing with the smoky mist crawling from nearby chimneys. No central heating here. Just firewood if you have it. And you don't, because you used the last of it last night trying to dry your wet socks over a sputtering hearth. Your belly grumbles again, expectantly. But let's be clear, breakfast in the medieval world is less the most important meal of the day, and more a social experiment in endurance. You make your way toward the communal table, or if you're a poor labourer, maybe just a worn bench outside, where today's meal is waiting. Gruel. Again. It's a thin mixture of oats or barley boiled in water until it achieves the exact texture of disappointment. No sugar, no spice, no redeeming qualities. Occasionally someone sprinkles in bits of onion or cabbage for excitement, but that usually just ruins the surprise. And the bread, it's not fluffy, it's dense, coarse, and black with rye or bran, heavy enough to serve as a paperweight, if anyone had paper. You chew slowly, aware of every crunch, every chew, every small pebble left in the flour. There's no such thing as food-grade safety yet. You glance around. Your table mates range from grumbling adults to sticky children, to a tired-looking woman fanning flies away with a broken broom reed. Everyone eats in silence, save the occasional cough or sniffle. Disease is always in the background. Someone's got something, and today you just hope it isn't you. Someone across from you reaches for the communal salt jar. You flinch, not because of germs, nobody knows about those yet, but because salt is expensive. Really expensive. Worth its weight in silver in some towns. A person who drops it casually like that either owns a salt mine or has nothing to live for. You finish your meal, sort of, and set your bowl down. There's no running water to rinse it. If you're feeling fancy, you'll wipe it with a handful of grass or ash. If not, it just goes back on the shelf, waiting for the next victim. As the table clears, someone mutters a prayer, and just like that, it's time to start the day's work, which for the average medieval person began before sunrise and ended only when the sun dipped low again, your hands cracked, your legs aching, and your soul mildly detached. But before you trudge off to earn your pittance, a quick note about manners. Because even in an age where everyone stank and nobody washed their hands, etiquette mattered. Don't speak with your mouth full. Don't point with a knife. Don't touch someone else's bread unless you want a fight. And whatever you do, don't pass gas at the table. Not because it's impolite, because it might be considered a sign of demonic possession. Historians still argue whether that's an exaggeration or just good hygiene disguised as superstition. You step away from the meal and realize just how hungry you still are. The food may technically have entered your stomach, but it didn't really satisfy anything. No protein, no vitamins, no coffee, just barley and sadness. A few neighbors are chatting outside. One of them mentions the lord of the manor was seen riding through town the other day, his horse kicking up clods of earth, his cloak billowing like he's the star of a dramatic play. You nod politely, trying not to sound too interested. Gossip is social currency, but in the wrong hands, it's also treason. Another villager mentions a monk passing through, who had seen a frozen body fall from the sky. Now, is this a fanciful tale of a meteorite, or just a dead bird mistaken for a divine omen? We'll never know. The line between myth and reality is porous in this era, and sometimes people prefer it that way. It adds mystery to otherwise monotonous lives, and then, out of nowhere, someone offers you something unusual for breakfast. A boiled egg, a true treasure. Protein, warmth, a hint of flavor. You're overjoyed until you crack it open and find it half-formed. Welcome to nature's Russian roulette. You eat it anyway. Your final sip is from a wooden cup of small ale. Yes, ale, at breakfast. Clean water is hard to come by, and boiling takes time. So instead, you drink a weak beer with low alcohol and questionable taste, brewed by your own mother or neighbor, or, if you're extra blessed, by nuns who've mastered fermentation. As you down the last gulp, you can't help but reflect on how much you already miss modern cereal, even the soggy kind, especially the soggy kind. Someone nearby groans, clutching their stomach. Bad fish, they mutter. You nod in sympathy while slowly backing away. Food poisoning isn't just common, it's practically expected. And if you think you'll get a doctor, think again. The local physician mostly hands out herbs and chants suspiciously Latin-sounding words. You stretch, preparing for the day ahead. Your body already feels sore, and you haven't even lifted anything yet. You remind yourself, no elevators, no brakes, no ergonomic chairs, just your own 2 hands, your aching back, and 14 more hours to go. And by the way, if you were hoping for coffee to kick in around now, too bad. You're just going to have to power through on carbs, prayers, and spite. You shuffle away from the communal table, still chewing the last bite of that dry, defiant bread. And it dawns on you. Your mouth feels like you just licked the floor of a barn. Which, incidentally, you might do later, if the village healer recommends it for your humours. Your next stop? A little medieval hygiene, of course. Now, keep your expectations low. Lower. There you go. You head outside with a tin basin tucked under your arm. Water is fetched from a communal well or a muddy stream half a mile away. Sometimes both. If you're lucky, someone already boiled it. If not, well, you'll get used to the taste of frog. You splash some of it onto your face. It's cold. Shockingly cold. Like mountain runoff level cold, which makes sense since it probably did run off a mountain, right into a trough shared by animals and toddlers. Your teeth chatter as you rub your face cleanish with a square of coarse wool. No towel, just the same cloth you use for everything else. Like everything, you eye the soap, or what passes for it. A foul-smelling lye cake made from wood ash and animal fat. It stings, and it smells like someone tried to make bacon out of anxiety. Still, it's better than nothing. And in medieval times, that phrase is basically a lifestyle. You do your best with what you've got. A bit of ash rubbed on the teeth, a few quick swipes with a stick if you're extra ambitious. The modern toothbrush hasn't been invented yet, and mint-flavored toothpaste is a fantasy right up there with a nice pair of shoes. Historians still argue whether medieval people actually cared about body odor, or if it simply blended into the background like smoke from the hearth. Some records mention perfumed cloths and herb-stuffed sachets worn under clothes, but those were luxuries of the wealthy. You're just hoping today is breezy enough to carry the smell away from your face. Let's talk about your clothing. You head back indoors to change, though change is generous. Most medieval folks owned maybe 2 sets of clothes, work clothes and slightly less filthy work clothes. Your outfit today includes a rough linen tunic that still smells like last week's soup, a belt, a coarsely woven cloak, and hose that itch like regret. No elastic here, just laces. Hey guys, tonight we're going to take constant to just time period and underneath seriously romanticized. Probably until nothing. You actually have to live. Underwear is hotly debated. Imagine waking up not in a cozy Some say bed, it existed in but in a straw-stuffed sack. Others claim it was a luxury reserved for nobles. And somehow both lumpy and flat. This is your first day in medieval times. Or wrap your feet in strips of leather if your shoes have worn. You probably won't survive. Soles are thin, Between
Stones
the bugs,
are sharp,
the smell,
walking
and the
is
overall
pain.
vibe of it, you have
Please
no
don't
choice.
let me catch the plague
road
before noon
awaits.
You're already off to a rocky start.
As you step outside,
So
your nose
before you
immediately
get comfortable,
detects something.
take a moment to
Manure.
like the video and
There's
subscribe.
no plumbing in your
but
village.
only if you genuinely enjoy what
Waste
I do.
goes into pits.
Also,
ditches.
let me know in the comments
Sometimes just
where you're
outside,
watching from and what
time
time
it
avoid
is.
the puddle near your
I love
door,
seeing how
hoping
far
it's
this
rainwater.
sleepy little time machine
You know
travels.
it's not.
Now,
The
dim the
streets
lights,
are lined with buildings
maybe
that
turn on a
seem to
fan
lean on one
for that
another
soft
for
background
support.
hum, and let's ease into
Thatched
tonight's
roofs, journey
timber
together.
frames.
You open your
Tiny
eyes to
windows
near
made from
total
animal
darkness.
horn or
The
oiled
only light
linen.
leaks in through gaps in
Doors
the
left
wooden
ajar.
shutters.
Chickens
If you're
darting
hunting
has
out.
those. The
You
smell
nod to a
hits
neighbour
first,
who's sweeping
musty
filth into
straw,
the road,
old
not
sweat,
from courtesy,
and a
mind
faint
you.
hint of wet
It's
animal
just
fur.
what people do.
You're not
Out
alone
of
in the
sight,
room.
out of mind.
Someone's snoring.
Into the communal
Someone
ditch.
else is mumbling.
In their
You
sleep.
walk carefully,
And under your straw
because
mattress,
even a small
something
slip
squeaks.
can mean a twisted
Probably a
ankle.
rat. And
Could
in a
be
world
worse.
without
It could
urgent
be a
care,
neighbour.
a twisted
try to
ankle
sit
can
up
be
and
your
instantly